I saw this Threads post. It is a dating Threads. This woman named Alyssa says, more adventures in dating. I don't even know where to begin with this one. This was the second thing he said to me. Ladies, this is not how a secure man behaves. And then she shares with us this text message. Let's go ahead and check this out together. Here he is talking about her successes and achievements. He says, it does not attract me. It's a put off. Your successes don't turn me on. I'm not threatened. I'm glad you've done well. At the end of the day, if I chose you, and I'm very selective, you would be owned. Your fat butt and wide hips would go into position. Your head would be pressed into the pillow, and you would do your job daily. You would do as you're told, when you're told, how you're told. You see that he can't use the correct your at all. He says, I do not need your money or support. I crave the affection and grounding energy of a soft woman, not a woman who would dare treat me like some subordinate at work. Read my profile again. I've earned my position. I'm a warrior who needs a murderously loyal woman at his knee. I don't beg for a seat at any table I assume is mine. Alrighty then, this is the second thing that he said to this woman. He wants to downplay everything because he needs this woman down at his knee, and he needs her to assume the position daily. That's a whole lot of words. She continues with, he then proceeds to say, for when you realize only a fat peen warrior will satisfy you, then gives me his number, then blocks me on the app. It's so wild how entitled they are, how audacious they are. Like they really just see women as being here to be an entertainment machine, an orgasm machine, a masturbatory tool, if you will. And that's pretty much it. They have these delusions of grandeur, like they are sitting up here demigods. This dude thinks that he is a warrior and that he needs this warrior at his knee, not even beside him, at his knee. We will continue to say this, and it has to be said. So many of them need to be lonelier. Nicole says, it'd be a shame if his number was signed up for self-improvement seminars, narcissist recovery programs, misogyny reprogramming, dating advice, etc. And then Lulu Mason says, I mean, what an unmitigated weapons-grade Bellin sharing this tripe with someone, then also sharing your number with them so it could be posted all over the internet for roasting purposes. Now, Aaron says, Kay, I like my eggplant sliced and fried. I don't have anesthesia handy, but a warrior should be able to sit still as he's told, when he's told, how he's told. Where the F did I put the basil? You gotta have good basil for fried eggplant breading. Just so y'all know, I'm not actually psycho, but I fiercely defend fellow women, and I'm darkly creative if absolutely necessary. And then she shares a black heart. Decolonization says, your mind is wonderful. And then Aaron says, oh, that's a wonderful compliment, which I will take with gratitude. Musery Fantastico says, ew, this is one of the many reasons I quit all dating apps and chose the bear. Men over-sexualize women, men's violent interactions with them, and men not knowing they are gay, etc. Also, they never read my bio saying, don't swipe on me if you believe in, and they would literally swipe to argue over it. And too many bios saying, not sure what I want. No, we know what you want. We just aren't having it anymore. They are not lonely enough. Mikal says he's probably never had sex. Now, Sharon at the bottom says, you couldn't even say, actually, it's your. I had to laugh at that because correcting him would have been hysterical, and I would have loved to see how he reacted. Nikki Fresh says, what? That dude needs some effing help. Now, Trainer KML says, yeah, we're going to need that number. I had to laugh at the number of people asking for his phone number. Dawn Paint says, I'm not in the game anymore, but if I were, I think my number one requirement would be a man who knows the difference between your and your. And he was so forceful with it. He used the word for repetition for emphasis sake, but still did not use the correct word. It's hilarious. Shayira says he needs to be a little more lonely. And then Lulu says, Jesus H. Christie and all the saints and angels, men's are not lonely enough. I had to laugh at these two because I'm so glad that so many different women are saying these things on different profiles all over the place. It definitely makes me chuckle. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this picture. I'm sure it'll be necessary to use. I am about to go into a Threads post from a guy. You need to see this because you need to see the subsequent comments underneath this post. It's amazing. I'm Terry Sr. says, ladies without kids, listen up. If you're turning 25 this year, your window is closing for you to get yourself a high value man. Us high value men prefer women that are younger, fit, friendly, and without kids. After you hit 25, we rarely look your way, respectfully. At the time that I took these screenshots yesterday, he had a whole 44 hearts and over 1,000 comments. I'm sure it's way more than that by now, but he let us know that he is high value. And now we're at the point that if you're 26 years old and over, you are at the wall. The number is just getting smaller and smaller, and it's hilarious. Now let's look at the responses from the ladies. Idol Prima Donna says, you're not a high value man. You're a guy with no personality who wants to date young, malleable women to control them. And then she shares this picture. This woman has a can of Raid and she is shooting it. Now, I'm Terry Sr. chose to pin this comment from this woman named Bam. He says, as an almost 31-year-old, this simply isn't true. I have older men trying their hardest for me to be with them daily, LOL. Actually, more so now than when I was 25 and below. Savannah says, if you have to announce to everyone that you're a high value man, you're not a high value man. Act like your hairline and back the F up. We had a couple of guys weigh in, and yes, I'm going to show a picture of I'm Terry Sr. in just a moment. But Dave says, every time a man starts a post with ladies, it will be followed by some nonsensical stream of incel BS. We got another dude. He says, you're giving experienced bookstore clerk looking for a library job. Shh. Now, keep in mind, I'm about to show you Terry. He is a high value man. I'm so surprised that this is not just completely deaded like Kevin Samuels is. Like, why are they even still using this? He wants to bring it back, I guess. So let's check him out. Y'all, look at this. Like little taco meat for a beard that's not connected, and he needed to show us this. He chose to show us this profile. Why didn't he get this shaped up if he were going to come on to the internet and talk mess? I need them to do better and try better. Samirian says, I showed this post together with your profile pic to my 25, almost 26-year-old twin daughters who make six-figure salaries, and they had a laugh attack. They were raised by a high-value man, my husband, their father, who would never embarrass himself online, trying to put women down out of desperation for a relationship. Now, Angel says to him, thank God, because I hate when a solid 3 looks my way. And to that, Terry Sr. says, why would you hate your equal? So he's saying that this woman named Angel is a solid 3. I clicked on her profile. I'm like, this chick is gorgeous. Let's refer back to his profile picture, and he looks like this. The delusions of grandeur is outstanding. They really don't see themselves as they are. They have like funhouse mirrors or something. The last DJ says, Terry, please find the nearest hell and take your ashy wannabe Kevin Samuels MFing butt and fall in it. Post haste and forthwith. Ziggity Boom says, rules to live by. Men who call themselves high value aren't. Men who call themselves a good guy aren't. Men who call themselves smart or successful aren't. Men who actually are all of these things don't need to advertise it because everyone can tell. And then he simply says, shut your effing mouth and make me a sandwich. He really just wanted this type of engagement because many of them are not creative enough to get engagement and be creative on their own. They have to sprinkle in some misogyny and sexism. I have no idea why this woman posted this in the Am I the A-hole subreddit, because her title just says, "My husband wakes me up multiple times every night." She's 40, he's 39. She says, "I'm very health conscious and I like to go to bed early, around 9:30. I have a young child and like to ensure that I get enough sleep, even when woken early. My husband chooses to go to bed a bit later. I don't mind when I wake up when he comes to bed, but lately he's decided that he needs to turn on the bright overhead light every time he comes to bed so he can see to get himself ready to sleep. He used to just use the flashlight on his phone, but says he doesn't want to feel like he has to tiptoe around. This is an issue for me because not only does it wake me up, but it makes it more difficult to fall back to sleep because I'm more fully awake." He also refuses to put his phone on do not disturb mode at night. I'm not sure why, but just flatly refuses. I know it's very simple to set your phone up to accept messages and calls from certain numbers, and I don't know why this would not be an option for him. It usually goes off at least once or twice at night. It wakes me up, though it does not seem to bother him. I've become increasingly frustrated with the multiple wakings, and I've definitely yelled at him during the night. I find it disrespectful to another person who is a light sleeper to not take small, simple steps to help them sleep better. He sees this as me trying to control him. I've always been a light sleeper, and sleep has always been an issue between us. Am I the a-hole? There's nothing that this woman is doing that can rise to the level of being an a-hole. Needing some sleep is human, and needing to be able to function, especially with a young child, it makes sense to get sleep. Our hormones rebalance with sleep. Our digestive system rebalances and helps, move food around. There's so many different reasons to sleep, and women tend to need more sleep than men anyway. It's so important. And so if a person is purposely waking you up, not even just accidentally waking you up, they are sabotaging you. It will jack you up. It will make you not as productive the next day. And she says she's health conscious. This is done purposely. Like I said, I was tagged in this post a few different times because we got to have a conversation about this. Because when you're in a relationship, you want to be in a relationship with somebody who is supportive and loving, and waking you up and not being supportive of the fact of your needs. You need sleep. You want to be healthy. You want to be fresh for the day, for your children, for your spouse, to just go to work for your, goals and stuff. Why would you be with somebody who sees you as the ops? Because no loving, caring person is just waking you up simply to just mess with you. These people are the ops. Some of these women are married to their ops. CI 1979 is someone that tagged me in saying sleep deprivation is considered a war crime in the international community and is against the Geneva Conventions. Your husband treats you worse than most countries would treat a war criminal. I bet Bourbon Bougie has something to say about this. Are you cool being married to someone who treats you so poorly? War crime level bad. And to that, I read through this and I'm like, so many of these women are married to their ops. Why is it so hard to be supporting and loving to somebody that you're married to? Why wouldn't you be considerate at all? What is so hard about letting a person sleep? It's so inconsiderate. Every single day I jump on these apps, and I just really don't feel like many of these people want to be married. They just get married because they have to be married, because you don't treat random strangers the way some of these husbands treat their wives. These husbands are some of the worst PR managers for marriage. I keep saying that. Make these people lonelier. All right, let's check out some other comments. Machine Good says, the control argument is such a classic gaslighting tactic used by people who don't want to be held accountable for their behavior. Asking your partner to use a bedside lamp or a phone flashlight instead of a 100-watt overhead sun is not control, is basic cohabitation etiquette. If he wants to live like he's the only person in the room, he should sleep in a room where he's the only person. And then Tipsy Magpie says, or he should live in a place where he's the only one there. Just an idea for OP. People who do like this are never just doing one type of mean, petty behavior. He's just overplayed his hand and lost the plausible deniability. Articulate Rhinoceros says 100%. My sister-in-law is abusive to my brother, and every time he solves a problem, she simply pivots to something else because the goal is never to solve the problem, it's to cause him as much mental anguish as possible. If she runs out of problems, my brother gets berated for fixing them because he's making her look like a drama queen. There's no winning. This guy will find a different way to F with her if she solves the light issue. Roughneck Safest says, I bet your sister-in-law accused your brother of gaslighting her every time he explains how wrong she is for what she's doing. And then Articulate Rhinoceros says, yes, I've had to text him after hearing arguments and be like, you're not crazy. That is what happens. She's gaslighting you. Sometimes it does take someone else listening in or recording the situation so that you know that you're not out here being crazy. They're simply trying to make you go crazy. Shot Ice says this 100%, not the a-hole, but the husband absolutely is. East Rub says, sounds like she's married to Nikki F or Jesse Waters. And then Billy the Boinker says, well, Nick is a virgin, so probably not the OP's spouse. Raddington says he's the one controlling how little sleep she's getting, the cheeky effer, and refusing to put his phone on Do Not Disturb. My ex did all these things too, but at least he would try not to. He was just forgetful and useless in a lot of ways, LOL. He certainly didn't see it as me trying to control him when he needed nagging about it. He apologized and tried harder for a while. And then Polar Pop said, I had an ex who would F with my sleep on purpose. Then when I was tired and exasperated from it, begging for him to just stop, then I was being controlling and picking a fight, which would prolong the whole situation and I'd get even less sleep. It's definitely an abuse tactic. And then Raddington says, agree 100%, it definitely is. Anything to exert control in even the smallest ways. Not that sleep deprivation is small at all. It creates such a perfect foundation, mental state for further abusive stuff. She says, I do remember one time in that relationship that was actually very deliberate, and I still wonder why he did what he did. I had been unemployed for a while and landed a job waiting tables at the poshest hotel in town. I was started on weekend breakfast shifts with a 6 a.m. start, and I'm not good at mornings. About 8 p.m. the night before, a mate came around, then proceeded to get drunk, take ketamine, and blast music loud. When I asked them to keep it down because I had my first shift the next morning, they waited until I went back to bed and turned it back up. He wouldn't leave. Well, be quiet, big deal over nothing. It's the weekend, drunk and belligerent. Pointless to argue. I got zero sleep and really struggled at work. When I heard 3 mates were invited the next night, I just quit the job. I lived in a house share with him and 3 other guys who all like to drink and party. So did I, and I could tell this job wasn't going to work out. No idea why he did what he did that time, but it was very clearly manipulative behavior, and I nearly ended things over it. I'm going to stop there because people are just sharing, their commentary, their experiences about sleep deprivation. And this playbook is very clear cut. It's used all the time, and people need to see it for what it is. It's abuse. And we have to understand that this is not to be taken lightly. It impacts your health. It can impact your job. It'll impact your finances. It impacts how you show up for yourself and for your kids the next day. Take this seriously. And if they won't, then you need to create a game plan to exit that relationship and either be single or find someone that is supportive of your health and your goals and all of that. Chime in. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. I have 2 different posts that I want to juxtapose in this one video. This young woman posts in the advice subreddit, my parents are misogynistic and I'm their daughter. She says their main goal for me is to find a good man to settle down with. Why the F do they care more about some guy in the future than their own daughter? Everything I do is based on my value and reputation. I have to remain a pure and innocent girl that can't date until after college ends to save my value. My brother sleeps with a bunch of girls in college, and my dad praises him. I get scolded because I bought a $23 two-piece clothing set and some socks with my own money that I made. My brother gets to gamble, spend money at bars, and pay for all his dates with his girlfriend. My parents insist on giving him more money because they feel bad that he doesn't have a lot of money left for now. I get constantly infantilized and told that I don't know how to cook, so my future husband will be disappointed. My brother can't cook either. I get called stupid by my mom a lot, seriously, while my brother gets constant praise from her for his intelligence. He is very smart. I'm not denying that at all. We're both studying notoriously hard and similar majors, but when I say it's stressful, they brush me off and tell me to toughen up. When my brother says he's stressed out, they immediately get worried and ask how they can help. They tell me that having a degree in a hard major is good because a good man likes an accomplished, smart woman. What the hell? I'm not doing it for a future man. I'm doing it for my own career. Don't get me wrong, I still love them and I know they love me. They just have a certain mindset that's been hardwired into them because of their culture. They also pay for my tuition. So she says, how do I prove to them that I am an adult worthy of respect like my brother? I can't convert them into another way of thinking. They are programmed. It is going to be challenging to change their programming. The only thing that she can do, that this young woman can do, is change the cycle, break the cycle of misogyny towards her. This is the only way that tradition and culture change, is if you see that something is wrong and you decide to not do it anymore. The way they disregard and devalue women and girls is terrible. And it's terrible when it comes from your mother as well, where she does not see the value in you because you were born female and you're like her. She's an older version of you and she can't see her own value, so she degrades you. Patriarchy patties, they are an amazing conundrum, but they hold up the patriarchy and they hold up this toxic patriarchy like no other. Like if women actually pulled away from it, the system would crumble because they need women's buy-in to their own internalized misogyny in order to uphold it. Men, yes, they're going to think what they think about us. But the fact that there's so many women that buy into the internal misogyny is absolutely gross. So that is what I think. I don't think that she's going to be able to prove anything. She just needs to do what she does, get good grades, go off, move away from these people and be successful and live her life. She's not going to be able to change the minds of her parents who are deeply programmed to believe that she is less than. They're going to keep propping up her brother. That's just what they do. They make these boys into these not princesses, but a little prince or a demigod to be served. And then the girls get reduced down to servants or just, the wife appliance to be, like she says, for her future husband. They don't even care if she wants to be single, if she doesn't want to be with a man at all. Like there are so many other possibilities for women and girls, but they can't see it because they just have this expectation that she'll conform. All right, so that's the girl side of it. Not going to do too many comments because I want to do the other post that gives a son's perspective. Ordinary Carrie says, keep holding your head high and do whatever it takes to get from under them. You do not deserve such shabby treatment. Advanced Buffalo says, you can't change them. You can use their money to get your degree and then you can get the hell out and you can break the cycle. Yes, it's going to take her and other women and some sons getting from underneath these people to change things and break the cycle. This person says, get an amazing job and be free of them so that you can, if you want, find an amazing equal partner to share the load with. Build your found family, friend networks, and a community away from the misogyny that you experienced. So this post from the son's perspective, or a son's perspective, is also in the advice subreddit. He says, my parents are about to lose me forever. He says, I am an Indian young adult who got their first job as an engineer. In a few months, I will be leaving home. My parents have mixed feelings about it. They never kept me away from them. Being a lone child, I was brought up in an overprotective environment. But what bothers me is completely different. I heard them talking with some relatives about how our son is going to buy a home. Please suggest a worthy bride for him, etc. I feel if I don't rebel now, I would waste my entire life. As I said earlier, that they were overprotective. Let me tell you a few things which help me convey how much I have missed in my life, how they have completely taken charge of my life. He says, I've never gone on a picnic with friends. They feared I would get lost. I never danced or listened to music in front of them because I was told that good children don't do that. My father never hugged me or showed any gestures of affection. He was always absent. I used to witness DV over silly topics. I remember once my father beating my mother with a leather belt. It was on the day of my grandfather's funeral. I can't greet people without feeling awkwardness. I find it hard to start conversations with girls because I never did that. I feel if I obey and spend my life working to accumulate wealth, build a mansion, marry as per religious norms, which are pathetic, I would at a point unalive myself. The thought has struck me a few times, but I hope that moving out, living on oneself, learning manners, building healthy relationships, falling in love with someone or something would be like Christ offering his hand to lift up from this darkness. This means rebelling. My mother had an emotional breakdown while I tried to communicate how troublesome their aspirations are. They believe I am selfish and a spoiled kid who ate their food, lived with them, got education on their expense, made them sacrifice, and now instead of returning the favor, I am evading responsibility. This line of thought may seem weird to the West, but in Hindu religion, one has to repay debt of parents, teachers, community, etc. Those who deny this are sometimes boycotted by family. I would be grateful if my confusion shrinks even by a small degree. Thanks. It's too bad that in these parents' mind, repaying the debts of what the parents have gone through or sacrificed for them means that this person doesn't get to live for himself. He has no autonomy. He is just an extension of them and has to continue to follow their rules. At what point is a human person allowed to go off and be an adult? They have kept him so close that he hasn't had the opportunity to form a personality outside of himself. He does need to move away. This is going to cause some issues because the parents will, like he said, believe that he is rebelling. He's just trying to live for himself. But many of these people, these religious folks, and I don't care what the religion is, many of these religious folks think that they own their children. They simply do. They do not believe that their children should have their own brains, beliefs, opinions, or whatnot. They don't believe that they should be able to have boundaries and assert themselves and communicate the things that they want. And so if you've never had the opportunity to have an opinion or a boundary, it makes you second guess yourself like this young man is doing right here. Like the other girl that we just talked about, he's going to have to move away and forge his own path. Is going to hurt the parents in the short term, but if they actually love and appreciate him, eventually they will come around. If they don't, he knows that he made the right decision anyway. Otherwise, he's just going to be doing precisely what they want, and he'll never get to live his own life anyway. Defeat the Low says it's okay to step away and live your life. And then the OP says, but that way I would end up being boycotted by family and possibly my community. I have no one except them to count on in hard times. And this, just like the comment in the other post, you're going to have to create a community. You're going to have to find friends and build a family. Just like when people come out as gay and then their family boycotts them or kicks them out or whatnot. You have to build a family and community starting from scratch. But this is how tradition. I got cut off, but I was saying this is how traditions change. Realistic Train says, it looks like you don't have them to count on now, though. You have a choice to make, and it's not an easy one. Make a choice to live your own life, your own terms. Family is who you choose, not who you're related to by blood. And if your family can't allow you to be an individual, they don't see you as a human adult anyway. So you need to move on and live your life or not, and simply follow their script. There's only really two choices here. You either conform or you go off and do your own thing. All right, y'all, let me know what you think about these two posts put together. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.
A double standard that I don't like about the patriarchy is, why is it that women are...
What that woman's talking about in her video, we talked about it last summer. Over on my YouTube page, I had this video put out and it got so many views and so many men chimed in, and they were angry at my particular post as well, because what the things that she was saying, patriarchy rigs mate selection, because patriarchy makes women second-class citizens who have no choice but to connect with the man, regardless of attraction, regardless of if he's supportive. He could be mean, he could be unattractive, he can smell funny. Back in the day when women had no choices, these dudes would still get connected to a woman because women didn't have choices. These days, some men just will not get chosen because choosing goes both ways. Women get to choose or opt out. And what that means is, with so many women deciding to opt out, many of these men will not get chosen. And the thing is, back in the day when women didn't have a choice, some of these dudes that got chosen back in the day, before women had the rights to their own bodies, the right to vote, the right to own their own money that they went to work for, back in those days, all of these dudes got selected. These days, now that women can choose to opt in or opt out, those same dudes would not have gotten selected. So we're going to continue to talk about that. The video that I'm about to connect with the woman that I stitched in the beginning, I'm just going to put this at the back of my YouTube video. And I will hammer her points home a little bit. Even though we have talked about it, we're going to talk about it again, because what she's saying is absolutely spot on. Just like this video that I talked about back in July. Over on my YouTube page, I'll put this link in the comment section. So if you're new here, you can find this video and watch it as well. Gonna hit similar points, but we're going to continue to talk about the fact that these dudes need to show up in a way that gets them chosen. It's not just them that get to choose. Women get to choose now as well, and the system will be better for it. The connections, the relationships will be better for it if they show up like they have to be selected, and that they have to act like they want to be in relationships with the women. All right, y'all, watch this woman's video, chime in, let me know what you think, and like I said, you're going to see it in its own separate video soon.
A double standard that I don't like about the patriarchy is, why is it that women are expected to have sex with, marry, settle down with, and be with unattractive men? Because we have a lot of ugly men, and that's due to patriarchy. But why is it expected? Why is it like for us not supposed to be high on our list of credentials? However, it's the number one thing. And for some men, the only thing that they need out of a woman is for her to be attractive, for them to marry her. It's like expected and the goal for men that their partner is young, fit, hot, and attractive. But for a woman, he can be balding with a bulge, and not in the good kind of way. And just because he has a job and doesn't hit you, we're supposed to just settle for that. I don't like that double standard, because women should also be able to say, you know what, I think you're a great person, but I don't find you attractive, and that be okay. That's why we got a lot of ugly motherfuckers running around now, because you all took away women's choice of being able to only procreate with the fine motherfuckers. Because of marriage and the fact that y'all took women's capabilities away of getting resources on their own, now we have to marry y'all, and women are out here just marrying any old thing so that they can survive. Your genes, your 5-6 gout genes, were supposed to be gone generations ago. But through manipulation and patriarchy, you ended up still being here. A lot of you ugly, short, fat fucks should not be here right now. And I know that's really hard to hear because y'all want to be chads and y'all are like hitting your faces with little hammers to make yourselves more attractive. Here's the thing though, baby. You weren't supposed to make it this far. Y'all can be male baddies. I want y'all to be male baddies. I want y'all to go back to your natural place of peacocking and getting chose. Because only the strong and fine ones are supposed to be here. What do you mean you can't bench 180? And you're 5'6"? What are you doing here? And you're not even cute? At least be like Prince. Be short and cute. You know? But you're not even cute. It's okay though, because the way that these birth rates are looking, the girlies are figuring it out and fixing it. Because that's the thing about Mother Earth. She will always find a way to correct the wrong. So while you all are out here dealing with the male loneliness epidemic and the virgin average age is going up and nobody wants to have y'all's babies, we're gonna get the ugly, psychotic, crazy ones out of here in due time.